right, so Legacy of Destruction format is official now with the set being out and events already taking place. And we all kind of figured Fires and Tenpai Dragon, perhaps Yubel is going to be at the forefront of the meta, but there's random decks like Melodious making a splash. So I'm super excited to talk about all the decks, look through the deck list, and get into today's video. If you enjoy, make sure to give it a like and let me know which deck you're playing in this format. Also, quick disclaimer. My husband and mom-in-law are putting together this bench out in the hallway. So if there's any drilling and stuff going on, you know, just take it as some background noise for today's video. So let's go ahead and get into it. I already mentioned Melodious, and this is going to be the first deck we're taking a look at today. I saw the support, right? I think I talked about Melodious at least a bit in one of my videos when it comes to Legacy of Destruction, decks receiving support, etc. And there also seem to be some one-card combos with this first one, which is the Refrain, if I'm not mistaken. And it basically puts up a board that's actually kind of nice. So with this deck here, we see this is the monster lineup and also Ostinato, their fusion spell card, which is really nice. The interesting thing, I guess, when it comes to this deck list, and it's a trend we're going to be seeing, is Ghost Ogre in the main deck. So when it comes to actual Melodious ratios and stuff, if you're a Melodious player, please contribute with your thoughts. There's not much I can say about it because I haven't personally tested this deck yet, but it seems really cool and I really love pendulum decks, so I might have to take a look at all of that. Also, here we see the extra deck, no side deck unfortunately, but this is kind of the gist of it when it comes to Melodious. I love the addition of Herald, you know, being a fairy, it is kind of obvious to include in this deck, and it's just such a solid hand trap in my opinion. It actually negates and destroys, therefore removing the body, which is always great, especially when it comes to like Tenpai Dragon and stuff, trying to, you know, synchro with its own like body. So if you remove it, Ghost Ogre it, whatever, it resolves without effect, which is amazing. Also negates activations, another cool thing when it comes to Tenpai Dragon activating in the damage step. So let's move on. Next up we have Ghost Trick Runic Spellbook. So yes, you know, again we have stun decks. We obviously see Jaugen here. No Inspector Border, but we will get, you know, to another stun deck list, because even though I don't like them, I still include them. They're part of the meta and you have to be aware of all of this. So the non-engine here is Droplet, which seems to be a really cool card moving forward. A lot of people are actually including this, and there's also Talents. We see the spellbook package, of course. I'm really interested to see how, to know how this actually functioned and why this person decided to play this. So if you have any info, I would love to know in the comments. 3 Upstart is really cool. I think this card is like, it's kind of sad that it's not seeing more play than this, but you know, it's cool to see Runic not be abused for like, you know, floodgate type of stun and more stun than it's getting here with the Chaugen. I guess that's not so bad, but it's still a Runic deck. So however you feel about it, you know, that's just what's up. But it seems to be ending on like, you know, also monster negates and like actual interruptions, not just floodgates. So moving on, we have Centurion. Now, yes, Centurion is like very basic when it comes to their engine, but the only thing that's a little more interesting here is the fact that there is no Emeth. Yeah, let me know why that is actually. We do see the other Centurion, which maybe this is like taking the place of Emeth. That could make sense because people were saying that it's supposed to be a one-of next to Emeth, but maybe this person decided to just swap them out. More Ghost Ogre, also Shifter, which of course can be played with the new support when it comes to Centurion. It actually makes it so this deck can abuse it now. So yeah, you know, another Shifter deck. We also see Super Polymerization, Lightning Storm, Talents. So yeah, a mixture of hand traps as well as power spell cards. Let's check out the extra deck. I don't think there's anything too out of the ordinary. We do see Super Polymerization targets. Enigmaster Packbit is like seeing more and more play, not just in this deck. I do think we have it in another deck list. And then we have Labyrinth. So let's check this out. I think this is pretty much how the quote-unquote standard Labyrinth lists are looking like right now, with Backjack and also 3 Arias with all the normal trap cards. So you maximize your options and I guess potential to play during the opponent's turn as well. Terrors of the, I don't know which root it is, like overroot, underroot, something like that. This card is also in the deck list. And as for everything else, I think what also became the standard is LEDE at 1. And as for the other trap cards, I think the Ruma Karma Cannon is amazing. Nibiru is like, it's fine, but it's not that great against Tenpai Dragon. And also, like, most of the Snake Eye decks are developing ways to play around Nibiru. So I don't think it's like the best hand trap if you have to choose one, but of course, to each their own. Let's move on to Kashtira. Now, this is just probably the most cookie cutter Kashtira list. We do see a lot of rivalry in people's deck list. If you can play it, usually you're gonna include it. It is a 1, so you might as well. There's also Impermanence, Ash, and Veiler, and the mandatory shifter. I really like Cosmic Cyclone in the main deck. I think it's gonna become even more, I guess, important to be included in the main deck, specifically because of the Tenpai Dragon matchup. And Hitso, you know, the Hitso line, I think is, I guess, the cleanest you can play Kashtira. We also see Called by the Grave. So let's move on to Sky Striker Orcus. Now this honestly warms my heart. You know, it is not the nicest memory when you think about how oppressive it was back then, but it was such a cool deck. I think we all have to agree on that. And we do see 3 Harp and 3 Engage. It is actually amazing. Look at me, I'm literally smiling. It's like so insane to see this deck actually, you know, be alive and exist. I think it's really nice, especially because Girsu never saw play, you know, with Harp and also with Engage being at 3, they kind of missed each other. So yes, I think it's really cool. So let's actually check out the deck list. We see 3 Girsu, 2 of the Nightmare, 3 Harp, of course, 2 Symbol Skeleton. I think this is pretty much mandatory. 1-offs of the other, you know, cards that you don't want to play at multiples, pretty much. 3 Return, which is cool. You can, you know, play 2 or 3, I think. Of course, Hornet Drones. Shark Cannon is actually really nice right now, I think. We also see Widow Anchor. So everything that you need for your engages. Also 3 Upstart. Oh man, I actually really love this deck list. I think this is really, really cool. So well thought out. And also Droplet again. Such a nice card. Wow. I am a fan of this, actually. Yeah, Azalea we see here. There's also double Dingirsu, Sky Crisis, Barricade Board Blocker. The rest is pretty standard for this deck, I think. Zeroboros as well. Yeah, it's really cool. That's actually really, really cool. So let's move on. I had to include at least one Snake Eye list. I think this is the only one, which is like the most standard for pure Snake Eye with Formula, D-Spotter, and also Omega. So you can play this loop if you want. You don't have to though. You can just play pure Snake Eye without Jet Synchron. You have, you know, just a little more space for non-engine, and also in your extra deck you're able to include other cards, because right now, for example, Sky Crisis is interchangeable with Access Code, but I don't see many people running both because you just physically do not have enough space. So you can do that, however, if you cut some cards, and you also free up space for your potential Heat Soul and Sunlight Wolf lines, if that's something you want to go for. So as for the rest of the, you know, main deck, it is very, very standard, so we won't spend too much time, but there is Trust and Talents, which is, you know, I guess an out of the ordinary thing for the main deck. Okay, let's talk about Tenpai Dragon. I think I have 2 deck lists, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, what people have come to find out is that, well, what we have come to find out as a, you know, community, is that this is the perfect ratio. You need to play these 2 at 3, and then you need 2 of the green one. This is the tuner, this is the starter, and then this is the green one. There's also Magnamut, which is cool. It is quite standard in Tenpai Dragon lists. 3 Ogre, again, this is going to be a really important card moving forward. And also, Tenpai Dragon as a whole has so much space for non-engine. So pretty much what you have to play is these 8 cards here, 3 field spell, 3 of the quick play spell card, the searcher / special summon from the hand, and the terraforming. And then you probably also have to include Pot of Prosperity, so the rest is definitely up to you. And if you're already playing all of this, then you might as well be playing 3 Crossout as well. As for the extra deck, the Zealantis line is here in case you cannot OTK with your Synchros, especially if you are locked under the barrier, for example. And then you have 2 of and 1 of their Sangenpai, Senpai Dragons, something like that. Synchros, the new ones. Trident Dragon, of course. This is the Time Lord that's been kind of spiking up and seeing a lot of buyouts on the market. You play this for your Yubao matchup mainly. Seals if you have to go first, and then you have all of your Black Rose also for going first, and then your other level 7s that you're able to access. And then moving on to Sun Runic that I talked about before, we have Inspector Border, which is like, you know, terrible, and I don't want to spend too much time on this deck list if I'm being honest. It is basic stuns, so if you're interested in that, take a look, screenshot it. I don't know, we're gonna be moving on, but you know, Defissure, Floodgates, Synchrozone, all of that. Just I cannot even. Let's move on to Purrely. 3 Purrely, 2 Purrely, Nibiru, Ash, Veiler, Mourner. There is Crossout, of course. I immediately thought of that when I saw 1 Mourner, and it does make sense. There's also Called By, and again, we see Rivalry. If you can play it, you probably should play it. The basic lineup of all the spell cards, and 2 Delicious now, which is kind of nice. It actually boosted Purrely quite significantly. And then we also see, you know, a standard Purrely extra deck. Also, this is a deck that can utilize Kikinagashi Fucho, which is really important now that Tenpai Dragon is a thing. And then let's talk about some Despia. I think we have to include it. There's not a deck list video without Despia, I think. So this is 50 cards. And is there anything that out of the ordinary? I actually don't think so. Branded in High Spirits is important in like bigger deck counts of Despia. Again, Droplet, a Gold Sark, Thrust you have to play in this deck, I think. Fusion, Duplication, there's a Gimmick Puppet. Yeah, I think this is very standard. The Borreload Fusion is also cool. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's called Borreload Furious Dragon. So this one is important for Despia and the rest is standard. So let's move on. Another Tenpai Dragon list. So again, you're gonna see you have to play these. There's Magnamut. Set Rotation is also nice. This is a new inclusion, so this was not in the other deck list. You can play it, you don't have to. 3 of the important spell cards. There's no Terraforming though, but you do have Set Rotation. Some Take Control cards for going second, Harpies and Lightning Storm, which is also cool. I like this list. I actually like it a lot. I think it has like everything that it pretty much needs, and also double seals, which I think is cool. So, you know, in case you go through one of them, you're still fine to have another one. Hita, yeah. Okay, this is looking really clean. Let's move on to Branded Voiceless Voice. So I could include just Voiceless Voice. I wanted to include this version because just the regular Voiceless Voice is very, very standard. But I think Branded with Voiceless Voice is really nice because, you know, just like Branded with like Chimera or something, you're always baiting with one engine and then successfully resolving your other one pretty much. I like Fenrir as non-engine. I actually think this card is really nice, especially because it deals with the Tenpai Dragon Field spell. You have 1 Albaz that you need, your 3 Brand Diffusions, and the new target for Law, another continuous spell card from Legacy of Destruction. And the rest is standard. I don't think you should be including the new ritual, and this person did not. So I think this makes sense. Like the old one, I guess, that used to be played in Voiceless, I think is pretty much the only one you have to play next to Sauravis. I don't think the new Saphira ritual is like a mandatory inclusion. And as for the extra deck, of course, you need your Branda package. There's also Entis for your Herald plays, of course, and your actual Herald, and then the rest is standard. So we have Unchained Yubao as well. Of course, I had to include this. I'm super hyped about this deck. So this is the Nightmare Throne, which is a new addition. Nightmare Pain is also important. You have Opening of the Spirit Gates together with Dark Beckoning Beast and also Shavara. So all the engines pretty much combined into one deck, which I think is really, really nice. Yubao, Gruesome Grave Squirmer, also an important addition. This deck just got a huge boost from Legacy of Destruction, so I'm super hyped to see how it does, you know, moving forward. You have your Unchained package, Almirage, Doolittle Chimera, and Princess for your Fireplace, which is actually really cool. I like this. Okay, nice. It's actually really, really cool. So this deck list, this is nice. This is actually something I want to test. So yes, I think this is really cool. Is there anything else that has to be talked about? I guess, you know, there's the trap card, of course, for your Unchained plays. I guess not the greatest one to draw. You do want to access it off of Shavara. And I think that's it. So if you have, some information about Yubel, I would love to know more. I don't know everything about this deck yet. I would love to know about your, fire lines, what you do with your Xyz monsters and all of that. Actually, everything about this deck intrigues me, so please let me know. But of course I had to include it in this video. And I think this is not the last one. We still have the Plunder Patrol deck we have to talk about. So this is not post Legacy of Destruction, but I wanted to include it just to give this player props because they did do very well at YCS Rally. And this is your Runic portion of the deck, your Plunder Patrol portion of the deck, which just Plunder Patrol and Runic, they function so well together. You get to pitch your stuff for Hugin, which is just such a neat interaction. More Cosmic Cyclone in the main deck. I think this is going to be a staple pretty much. And more Droplet in the main deck, which is also a staple. Evenly Matched is cool, but not great against Tempai Dragon. But of course, this is not post Legacy of Destruction yet. But I wanted to feature this deck and, give some props. So that's pretty much going to be it. Again, I want to encourage you to let me know more about the decks that we're featuring today. I really, really like most of them, except for Sun. But I genuinely don't always have the time to test them out a lot. So I would love to know more from you guys so I can get better and, test them more and have all the information. So share your thoughts in the comments, like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.